In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to cover using counter units in your PLC ladder logic. First, we need something to count. I'd like to count button presses, so we'll bring in this input and associate it to one of our PLC inputs, which is hooked up to a push button. For now, I'm going to use in 0. You can see it's associated. Next, we're going to need a counter. So if you expand the ladder for AV PLC, you can bring in a counter. We would like it to count up. I'm going to connect this into our ladder. Now, we're going to set how many times we would like to count. Go to data. If all you see before is just these starred components, make sure you hit the star to show all properties. Now, we can change our preset. As I don't want to push this button 10 times, I want to push it twice. See, we can see here that that preset number has changed. Now we need something for our ladder logic to do once this counter unit has counted up. So for that, we bring in an output here. Doesn't matter what you name it for now, as we're just going to associate it with one of the PLC outputs. I'd like it to light this lamp, which is hooked up to output 4. Just double click to associate. And now I need to say that if this counter unit has counted up to its preset value, please do this. In order to do so, I'm going to bring in an examine if closed. And we're going to associate that with the DN of this counter unit. Type in DN. It is the only one here, so you don't have to worry. But if you do have multiple of these logic units in your PLC code, what you can do is scroll over here and look at this location. We can see here that this counter is named L3-1 right here. And here we see L3-1. So we know that this is the DN that we're looking to associate with. So we're going to double click that. Next we connect that to our output and run our simulation. We press our button once and nothing happens. You can see here though that the counter has accumulated 1. We press the button a second time. The lamp lights up and we can see this accumulation is 2 and the preset is 2. Now you might be wondering, this seems kind of useless because the accumulator keeps going up. I'm going to press this button. In order to make this useful, what we're going to have to do is reset this counter. In order to do that, we're going to need an input. I like to use a push button. So we're going to pull in another examine if closed. We're going to associate that with one of our other push button inputs. This push button is hooked up to input 2 of our input card. So I'm going to select input 2. And I'm going to pull in an output energize. And again, you can name it whatever you would like for now, as we're just going to associate it later. Now we want to reset that counter unit. So we're going to type in RES for reset. Now again, we only have the one logic unit in here, but just to make sure, and scroll over to here, look at the location. Say L3-1, L3-1, so we know we're safe to associate. Now, we should be able to connect this, run our simulation, and see that if we press the third push button, it resets our counter unit. This tutorial has covered how to use counter units in your PLC ladder logic.